The following is a presentation of Project Independence and WCWP. Project Independence is the Aging in Place initiative of the town of North Hempstead.
Welcome to Project Independence and You.
Good morning and welcome to Project Independence and You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am your host today, Rebecca Miller, along with our co-host, Otto Lohse. Good morning, Otto. How are you today?
Good morning, Rebecca. Fine. Good day. Nice day.
Good day. Nice day. And of course, along with our hosting team is Kristina, who is the radio show producer of Project Independence and You, and she pulls this show together every week. And we always have some great guests, including our guests today. Our guests today are Laura LaFauci, who is the Long Island Director of Community Outreach at Amber Court Communities. Welcome, Laura. And also Kim Kuester, who is the owner of 101 Mobility. So welcome, Kim. We're going to be talking today mostly about National Aging in Place Council of Long Island, the Long Island chapter. And we actually had Laura and Kim both at our Project Independence Advisory meeting. I think it was a month ago. And that turned out to be a great meeting, a lot of questions, a lot of fantastic information. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
So first, maybe just a little bit about the National Aging in Place Council, the Long Island chapter. If you could just give us a little brief scenario of what it is, and then both of your roles with that council.
Yes, thank you. National Aging in Place Council is a not-for-profit 501c3, 501c6. There is a national component based out of Orange County in Florida. It started about 14 years ago with a few reverse mortgage brokers around a table. Since then, that has completely changed focus. We've become a true resource within the community, and what we offer most is accountability. So when someone has a need within the elder care world, rather than doing a Google search for a home care company and calling 100 different agencies to try to find the thing that you need, instead of making 100 calls with National Aging in Place Council, you can make one call to someone who has 300 to 400 resources. And then we reach out to the organization, and there's that accountability piece of someone who is background checked and vetted locally to be a member of the group. And if someone's not doing the right things or not providing really good services for seniors, they're just not in the group. So it just really does provide that safety net, and at the same time allow them, all of the professionals in the community, to work together to make something happen. And sometimes it's just as simple as, okay, where do we have someone who can come out and do a haircut in the home in this specific area? Okay, we have you, we can get that. Or a podiatrist to come into the home. We have Medicare planners, several of them across the island, that can help at no charge, and senior living guides if someone's looking for an assisted living residence, so that they can say, hey, I'm looking for this specific thing for my family, and that living guide knows all of the communities and can help narrow their search and help them at no charge. We also offer to anyone who is coming in for any service, free consultation, as well as a discount in services for anyone coming through National Aging in Place Council. So
I have a partial list of the members that you guys provided. How many members are there actually in the Long Island chapter?
So right now there's about 85. It changes constantly. And we have had over 100 members. We've had as low as 50 members over the years, but it's a constant movement. And even if we don't have a service within the group, someone within the group has a trusted person for that service or that provider.
How do you go about the screening part of it? Like, how do you qualify to become a member of NAIPC? Like who determines, okay, yeah, you're good, you can come in.
Yes, so the first step is a query. It's a full membership query. It's a 2-page document that asks the person who would like to become a member, why they would like to become a member, what they're bringing to the table as far as how they're going to work with us, what that they're willing to offer these free consultations, that they're in good standing within their organization. So there's a lot of questions there that they have to answer. Then they have to do a national and local background check for any criminal activity. They get a full background check done and we get that back. And if that's clear, then we go to our board, which has 11 members, and the board decides if the person has good standing within the community, and we vote the person in as a new member.
So it sounds like you carefully vet any company, agency, or group that wants to be part of it, and that's really good to know. So I'm curious, Laura, too. So you are the Long Island Director of Community Outreach for Amber Court Communities, and it sounds like you also have a significant role within NAIPC. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because you know so much about it and you're a true spokesperson for it as well.
Thank you. I came to the organization 13 years ago, or 14 now, I don't even remember. I've been on the board for many years. I've been the chair for just about 7 now. And our co-chair, Daria Gentili from A Mixed Elder Care, has come on board within the last 2 years, and she's amazing. So we have just a really great connection of people on the board. And I feel like a board drives an organization when you have a lot of people, 11 people who are willing to give of their time and be part of something and grow it. Kim, who is our outreach chair, and we have a wonderful secretary who is the East End doula and legacy provider, Susan Caperso. There's Michael Diamichis, who's a financial advisor. So it comes from all these different types of people. We even have a PR person on our board who helps with getting our flyers and making sure that everything, all volunteer. These are all volunteer people who give of their time because the elder care arena is important to them. They've all been caregivers or are currently caregivers, and they just want to make sure that someone isn't struggling. And when we stand up at a meeting, a big thing that we always talk about, Daria and I, is if you're going to invite somebody to come to want to join us, make sure it's someone who you would trust, not only with a family member, but with someone that you love. You may not love all your family members, but you want to make sure that it's someone who you trust for someone you love. So with Amber Court, we are the assisted living program under Medicaid. There are 12 now on Long Island assisted living programs under Medicaid. 3 of them are through Amber Court, one in the Bronx, one in Westbury, and one in Smithtown. And it's just an affordable option. We have affordable options across the island where someone can, for $1,313 a month, be able to live in an assisted living if they qualify for Medicaid. So a lot of people feel like assisted living, I can't afford it. But you can, and there's so many different options. The same thing with home care, with any type of service out there. Some of them are really expensive. Some can afford that. If there's not, then we need to find a lower cost option, and they're out there. So that's our mission, to make sure that people know all of the options.
The way I visualize something like NAIPC being used, is that you're like a central point? Is there like a central point that I could contact? And let's say I have a lot of different needs, maybe my long-term care insurance, or I need a ramp, or I'm looking for an assisted living location, or whatever the situation. Would they call a central point and just explain what it is they're looking for? Like, and what is that central point?
So the central point right now at this point in time is me. So when you call National Aging in Place Council, you're getting me, and I do triage. So it's tell me your story. And I listen for as long as it takes you to tell me everything. And then we go forward with, so how would you like to be contacted? Would you like me to email you with all of the people who can help with your needs? Or would you like me to have those people call you? How would you like us to move forward? And then you would tell me how you would like to move forward, and we go from there. Because of the volume of calls that have started to come in, we will be looking into doing more email than phone call. And that just brings it to the whole board to open it up differently. But either way, what I've been doing recently is having it go to a centralized location. We've recently changed the phone number so that when you call, the call is recorded. And the call will then go into this central system that takes the call and turns it into words, a Word document, so that we can send out what your needs are without your information, just the needs out to the membership.
It sounds like you're the call center, like except you're one person and we have like 10 to 15 people working. It's very interesting. But I did want to talk also just a little bit with Kim as well. You are with 101, is it 101 or 101 mobility?
It's 101, yeah, it's 101 mobility, yeah.
I love that. It's so positive. It's 101 and it's mobility. You know,
Yeah.
it's not, I like all the positivity with
Right.
a lot of the services. We had a guest on recently and talked all about successful aging. You
Yeah.
know, and kind of looking at it as like, you know, just another phase in life, not
So
just,
true. It's to continue the independence and the activities that you have always done with tweaks, with little pieces of assistance. So I at 101 Mobility, I'm the owner and president of the company here on Long Island and Queens. And we go into Brooklyn and Manhattan when, you know, I'm in the mood to pay for parking tickets. But outside, so I am just an example of a resource within 101 Mobility. I am also on the board. I am in charge of the outreach, which is connecting with, connecting NAIPC with people such as yourselves and ultimately the people that we're trying to help. Because it's all meant for, you know, the progress. Everybody needs help coming in and going out. That's all there is to it. And I rely on Laura just as much as Laura will call me to help someone out in the community. So my example of what I do is that a phone call comes in and they're being discharged, somebody's being discharged from a rehab facility or is having trouble getting in and around their home. And my company installs wheelchair ramps. We do vertical platform lifts in and outside. We do chair lifts and all the home modifications. But I'm just one piece of a larger whole, which is NAIPC. And that's really, we're a community that is, we all have a reason why, and it's almost all of us have a connection with family members to bring us into the world of helping seniors and people who have challenges through their lives. And we do it for the reasons that we've gone through a path with family members typically. And we want to share that because I call it a silver lining. So it's just, it makes you feel good when you're able to help others. It's, it's almost a selfish thing. Like, we are trying to spread information, resources to people who need it and to continue their independence, continue to do everything that they've always done. Why not? If you can, you should.
What 101 Mobility, as I read it, is you're primarily involved with solutions related to mobility and accessibility. So if
Yes.
somebody has a problem of some kind, getting in the house, getting in the bathroom, getting up the stairs or whatever, That would be your world, I'm taking it.
That's my whole world of
Right.
decent solutions, and the peace of mind is really what we're trying to facilitate. It's every bit as much for a caregiver as it is for the person being cared for, because you have a lot of family members that live out of town, and mom and dad are getting older, and you're it's in a panic. Like Mondays after kids visit their parents over the weekend is the flood of phone calls, because, oh my gosh, I saw my mom going up the stairs on the 15th step, she's losing her balance. Well, that's, as we know, not what we can listen to. So,
Specific case I had with my mother who lived with us for a number of years, and we were not in a position with the home that we had to give her a room on the first floor.
mhm.
So we wound up that we had to use the second floor, but we were able to install a chairlift,
Right.
which compensated for that. As an example, I mean, we preach on this show all the time about Maine level living, but that may not always be real. Long Island wasn't built with Maine level living in mind in many cases. So, I'm just saying that's probably an area you would get involved with.
100% every single day. That is what our mainstays are, our wheelchair ramps and our chair lifts. And then we do the door widening. It's your day to day. We go through each room of your house. Like, what is the day in your life like?
You know what, Kim, we actually have to take a quick break, and then when we
Great.
come back, we'll continue with how to kind of keep homes and get homes more accessible. We will be right back. You're listening to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Hey, welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Otto, Lohse, and Kristina Lou. We're speaking about the National Aging in Place Council, the Long Island chapter, also known as NAIPC. We're speaking with Laura LaFauci, who's the Long Island director, a Long Island director of community outreach at Amber Court Communities, and also Kim Kuester, who owns 101 Mobility. Before the break, Kim, you were talking a little bit about some of the things that you do and the accessible changes.
Yeah, we work with modifications to the home to provide solutions. So really the best thing that I always encourage people to do is to say, what a day in the life, it's not, we'd like to make a modification so that your each and every day is affected. If you are in a wheelchair, a expanding of a doorway. And Long Island, so many of our homes, they are older and they were not necessarily built for the accessibility components that we're building for today. And so we make those modifications. The bathroom tub is, the hurdle over a cast iron tub is just not something that any of us really want to be doing. And so we have solutions for that. We do tub cutouts, and we do that in combination with a chairlift. And that is where so many people carry on their day-to-day activities of bathing and cleaning, and then they can join the family and continue the way their life typically was, with living in their bedrooms upstairs and living in their living spaces and dining downstairs. It expands the whole home and keeps it safe. We have so many adult children also taking in their older family members, and making those a simple chairlift can just include a grandparent in that. An installation can take place in a week. Although I've done it in a day, I don't try to encourage that, but it's all about keeping a lifestyle that is comfortable and safe for everyone involved.
I've had
And
personal experience with the door widening issue.
yeah,
When my mother lived with us, you could get the wheelchair to the door of the bathroom, but that was where it ended.
yeah.
Uh, And frankly, we didn't do anything about it because at that point there was an aide that used to help her all the time.
Mhm.
But it would have been easier if she could have gotten in the door. The other question I have is I saw a thing, roll-in shower. What is
Yeah,
a roll-in shower?
it's, if you've ever been to a resort with a zero entry pool, it's the same concept. It's just, we remove the tub or the considerable lips that are going over to get into the shower. And we just do it and smooth it out. So it's one flat surface with the drain that catches, and it's pitched the tiniest bit down into the center of the drain. So it catches all the water. And that wheelchair will roll in from, toilet straight through into the shower. It makes for the transition into bathing all the easier. And, there's different stages of needs that people have in their homes. You can start out with a chairlift and you're still pretty much mobile with a walker, graduate to a wheelchair, and then there is also family members that progress in certain diseases, we know, like an ALS or something like that, where we do the safe patient transfers and the ceiling track systems, where there is a trapeze that assists the caregivers to use a track system that it goes from, let's say, bedroom to bathroom by ceiling track, and then we've done them into the first room, into the TV room. So it facilitates taking care of the person themselves, as well as the caregiver, because if you care for your caregiver, they're one slip disc away from, not being able to care for you anymore. So they're tools. There are solutions.
I'm sure Laura and Kim both, you experience this as we have over the years, is that we have all these great resources at Project Independence. And if we don't have them here, we're going to connect that person to the right resource, whether it's you all.
Correct.
But what happens so much is that you hear from people when they're in that emergency. It's happened, right? Someone's coming home from the hospital, they broke their hip, but their house isn't accessible. So, it's so important. What we're doing here is getting the word out and like planning. So, we at Project Independence do a lot of kind of programs on planning. We have the Circle of Support handbook and just all kinds of things, so you can kind of look down the road. And I mean, it's hard because no one wants to look down the road and say, well, can I get a wheelchair in this house when I'm 55? But you want to make sure that the house is accessible and that you're never in a situation. I mean, it could be even a temporary thing that you might be in a wheelchair one day. Not everybody is in a wheelchair, but I'm sure you guys experience maybe like a super high percentage of your calls are, okay, I can't get into my house, or my parent can't, or I need an elder law attorney. How do I get Medicaid? How do I do these things? So it's so important. So I'm curious, how do you guys get the word out about NAIPC? Because it's so important.
Educate, educate, educate. We do libraries, civic centers. We have brochures that explain a lot about what we do. Our website, our national office, yes, our national office has just written a book, Aging in Place Conversations. Everything we can do, reaching out to organizations such as Project Independence, other people who are doing great things in the community need to connect to other people who are doing great things in the community. Nothing is an island. The same way I may have my organization and I know what I know, I'm going to reach out to Kim for what she knows, and we're going to reach out to our 85 members who will reach out to their 85 some odd trusted resources outside of the membership when need be, because we always need a village. no company, no service, nothing's an island. And a lot of things are that little nuance, right? I need the driver on Tuesday who can come and do this with a wheelchair accessible van. Do we have that? Yeah, we know someone who can do that. And that's when we're excited, when we can match the need with, that solution. And that's what we are in National Aging in Place
I'm
Council.
sorry. Does NAIPC ever have a trade show, if you will, where
Yes, so we have
Okay.
had two
where all the people come in?
larger trade shows where we've invited the community at large. We do have lots of small ones and all around different areas, and we do support, and we have tables out at the Alzheimer's Association, the Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center. We support the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center. We took a table at the Case Management Society of Long Island to have all of the case managers from the hospitals know more about who we are. So we do a lot of different outreach to be able to support other not-for-profits and also connect with them in a more meaningful way.
The other thing that we are really strong in providing our Speakers Bureau out in the community, where we will send or we make a connection, such as with yourselves, and we ask, what is it that your senior community really would benefit in hearing about? Let's say it may be estate planning with a lawyer, or Medicaid, Medicare. What is it that would really be beneficial to hear within your community? What are you getting questions about? What's pertinent to you? And then we will connect within ourselves and provide you with 3 different speakers, let's say. That's what, that is my outreach into the community. Let's shoot for, we'll do a financial planning and document preparing for legal peace of mind. And we'll send 3 speakers, an attorney, a Medicaid planner, and a financial advisor, and bam, and in 15 minutes apiece, we have an audience that we can cover that whole area and speak to that. And then maybe another month down the road, we could come out and say, well, someone to get your hair done, what do you do and who do you work with, and speak to an audience of people that could be benefited by a podiatrist coming to the home. My grandmother would have, oh my gosh, what she would have done to have somebody come to do her toes.
And I think that education piece is really to be geared to what the people in that community want to know about. And
Correct.
Sometimes we're doing an activities program. Somebody wants an exercise program. We're bringing to a large apartment complex next week. We're bringing in Daria Gentili and myself a yogurt Zumbathon, and that's what they want for the day. So it's not just about the education, it's about filling the need.
Right.
They couldn't get a Zumba person. Daria is amazing and has those connections and got us the Zumba person, and we're bringing that to that community for that day. It's really just filling that void and that need, whether it be an activities program, a who pays for what, how, and when program, a thriving along the care continuum program, where we take you from the I'm 65 and I need to talk about my Medicare to end of life planning and how to build a legacy and everything in between. So we really just want to connect those dots and make sure that people know that resource is out there. And we thank you so much for being such a trusted resource to have us on and talk to us about stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for our residents too. The more information, the more education, the better. And I love that you started talking about yoga, of course, and Zumba. And it's, I'm also a yoga instructor, and I teach on Mondays now for North Hempstead at 9:30 on Mondays here at Clinton Martin Park. But a big part of the fitness is also the social aspect. Over COVID, we had I think 17 classes per week for our seniors in the town of North Hempstead. Before COVID, it was gold, Zumba Gold and yoga and Tai Chi and general fitness and line dancing. And people could go. And, we did that for many years. And it became carpooling for some of the seniors, and
That's great.
they would see each other, and they had close connections with their fitness instructors. They'd follow them, and it gave them a sense of, like, I won't say membership, but belonging, and it was so important. And then COVID came and changed everything, so we did everything virtually for a while. We did virtual classes, and then we were able to put fitness classes on North Hempstead TV, but nothing like bringing the seniors together for this kind of, it's great physically, but they're also interacting. And, for a lot of people, a lot of seniors, especially the older seniors, and we have people coming, I have people coming to yoga, late 80s. They're doing chair or whatever, they're doing, and they're able to feel connected. So it's great.
Rebecca, also so true to that, and something I learned through NAIPC. Again, I didn't see it coming. I'm always thinking like you, the physical component, and it was brought to my attention, the mental component of, so much of what's happened. And then, the components of the legacy doula that we work with, the emotional, and the we've got Bob Stoltz is just fantastic in terms of, he works with I don't know, Laura, I don't want to say psychotherapy, but
Bill Sauls is a trauma specialist.
He's
so
amazing.
Anyone who has dealt with PTSD, any type of high anxiety, things like that, paranoia, he can help, and he knows other professionals that he works with. We have people in the organization who are social workers who come out and do care management in the home. So there's just a lot of different options. But yes, Bill he does havening.
Right, havening is one of the, right. And he works with the veterans. He works with, in all, I don't know. I grew up Irish. We didn't talk about that. It's significant.
I was just going to say, what's the best way for people, our listeners right now, to get in touch with you all? Is there a phone number? Is it, Laura, I hope it's not your home number, but.
So there's two ways. The website address is Long Island, NY @ageinplace.org. And I'm going to give you the new phone number. So bear with me 1 second while I get that for you.
Okay. And they can always call, Kristina and I will have the information, so people can always call 3112. Please do, if you want the website or the phone number. Yes,
and the number for National Aging in Place Council is 631-320-5600.
Okay.
And I know that I know, Otto, you're looking at that number right there. That's my personal cell. So it won't record. So we did get a new number. That one's still fine to give out and to use, but we're working on the one that can actually just record the message so I can get back to someone in a timely manner. But both of them go to the same place. So,
the mission of Project Independence and most people is to stay in their own home, but reality is there's times where that doesn't work so good. And I know you're involved with assisted living, and it's a topic that does come up among the circle of people I know sometimes, all right? And it sounds like one of the options with NAIPC is, if you are looking into assisted living, you could contact NAIPC and get information about some options. But I have a couple of generic questions, if you will. Maybe not generic, but first of all, the big thing always with assisted living is the cost to people. And it's something that I think it's best directed head on rather than skirting around. What typically, like within your world, would it cost a person and then two people if they had to go to an assisted living location? What world are we in?
So the same way, if you were going to buy a house or going to find an apartment, you would have a really big range, right? So my mother lives in a one-bedroom apartment paying $1,200 a month. And when I had a one-bedroom apartment on my own, I was paying $1,800 a month. It's all relative when it comes to housing. Anywhere you can get a lower cost option or a higher cost option. So when you see assisted livings, something like Amber Court or any of the other assisted living programs under Medicaid, we can offer someone who just has Social Security income at $500 a month an option to be able to move into assisted living if they have a little funds to get started.
Laura, we actually have to take a quick break, but this is a big question. So we'll come back after a break. You're listening to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Otto, Lohse, and Kristina Lou, and of course Dan Cox, our radio show director. And we are speaking today with Laura LaFauci, who is the Long Island Director of Community Outreach at Amber Court Communities, and also Kim Kuester, who owns 101 Mobility, and both are on the board and very, very involved and dedicated with NAIPC, which is the National Aging in Place Council, the Long Island chapter. So we're learning a lot of stuff about NAIPC, and we're hoping our listeners are too. Laura, I know right before we had to take a quick break, you were talking about the cost of assisted living, and you're with Amber Court Communities, so I'm sure you have a pretty good overview and understanding.
Absolutely, and throughout National Aging in Place Council, we have members from Brightview, the Bristols. We have some, connections with the Atrias, the Arbors. So they're all out there, right? And there's different price points across the island for all of these. The Bristol, everyone says expensive, but yet they have some very affordable communities on Long Island as well. There are options out there. I know that Otto, I had mentioned Medicaid, and the Medicaid program, most people think they don't qualify. And if my co-chair of National Aging in Place Council were here, Daria Gentili, she would tell you from a mixed elder care, as well as all of our attorneys, that Medicaid is an option, right? People can get Medicaid when they don't think they can often. There's a lot of tools within the Medicaid program, pooled income trust that allows you to keep income. There's trusts that allow you to preserve assets. So there are tools that can allow you to utilize those programs. As far as the housing by itself, there's options at $2,500 a month, depending on care needs. There's options at $13,000 a month. So it's such a vast array of assisted livings out there. And that's why in National Aging in Place Council, we have assisted living guides. We have several companies that we work with within National Aging in Place that do not charge you. You actually go out with them. They can go with you or tell you where to go. They do all the conversations for you. They explain everything and break it down. They know all of the communities and price points. So rather than calling 75 assisted livings across Long Island, you call one place, you speak to one person. That person can tell you, hey, with all your income, what your care needs are, you have a special needs enhanced license that you need because you need a Hoyer lift, Or you can go to a more independent living community and they can tell you what options there are for your exact situation. And it just really narrows that playing field down so that you're not going crazy and scattered to all of these different options.
Who
And
would
you
they
can
call
plan
for that?
before you
That
need.
would be calling NAIPC, if I get that through my head. Somebody could call NAIPC, say, I'm looking for assisted living, and here's my story. And then they would tell them, well, here are the options that you would have based on your story. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, so the first, it would, actually, that would take about 2 triaged conversations. So one with the person who answers the first call, and that would be, tell me what you're looking for. You're looking for assisted living, great. We have assisted living guides within National Aging in Place Council. Would it be possible for me to send you the information of both of them? Please speak with both of them. When you have assisted living guides, they spend a lot of time with you. So you want to be with the person whose personality you're going to get along with best, you're going to feel comfortable with. They're both wonderful. We have others who have joined us in the past as well. They've all been great, and there's no charge. So you take the call, you see who you have that warm, cozy feeling with and who you think you might want to work with through the time while you're going through this process. And then you make a decision and tell them your story, and they tell you all of the options that are out there for you and your price point and with your exact care needs situation.
What would be the difference between assisted living and nursing home? You know, this is like, you know, up here somewhere, but
So think
what
about it like
defines
this.
the difference? And can you go from assisted living to nursing home
You can.
within assisted living without getting thrown out and go somewhere else?
You can. So assisted living is a 30-day proposition, unless you're in a continuing care retirement community, which would be more of a time tied in contractual type of a thing. Unless you're in something like that, if you're in an assisted living, it's a month-to-month proposition, very much like an apartment. Some assisted livings do require you to sign a lease for a time frame, just like you're in an apartment. Not all do that. So that's how the time framing works. I'm sorry, I think I lost a little bit of your original question. I want to make sure that I answer it.
So, okay, so, you know, you're in assisted living, but
Nursing
now you're
home,
all of a
thank you.
sudden, you need more assistance,
So
whatever
here's what
that may
happens
be.
typically.
You can't
Here's
take
how
care of
the
your personal
trajectory goes.
needs, let's say, at all. Now you're in another category.
Yep. So
Now what?
you're in the assisted living. You have a fall. You need to go to a rehab after hospital. You're in the rehab. Now you're in that rehab and you are doing better and can come back to the assisted living. You return. If you're in the rehab and you're not doing better and you really don't qualify for assisted living anymore, which would mean that you can't bear weight, you need a wheelchair in some cases. Some assisted livings can take you with a wheelchair and you'll be just fine. And all you have to do is be able to stand, pivot, and turn around, and you can be in assisted living. Some have different guidelines, so that's all figuring out which one. But nursing home, the difference between the nursing home and the assisted living is really the clinical component. So a nursing home can take someone who is far more clinically advanced, their needs medically. A Hoyer lift is typically something that you might need unless you have a special needs enhanced licensed assisted living, would need a nursing home. If a catheter cannot be self-managed, in most cases, that would need a nursing home. Some assisted livings don't accept oxygen, so that would be a possibility that you would need a nursing home or another assisted living that accepts oxygen. So there's a lot of clinical terms, but an assisted living is more of a community setting. It's got activities, it has a more home-like feel. You're having dining in a restaurant style setting. You have more choice about food options. So a lot of things like that are different in assisted living. It's a place to thrive. There's so much going on. where a nursing home is more of a place to convalesce. There are activities, but they're lesser, they're few. They typically, in assisted living and in nursing home, will offer you religious services of some kind, whichever denomination. They usually will support all. There usually will be bingo in both nursing home and assisted living. But the activities in assisted living are trips. There's people coming in, DJs coming in, dance parties. They have magicians come in. There's always some big activity going on at least once every day. And there's a scheduled activities program that's enriched throughout the day. So that's where there's a difference.
So assisted living facility would not necessarily be your nursing home as well. You would wind up in a nursing home as opposed to, you hear stories, you graduate to the third floor. You've worked your way up, 1, 2, 3, and now you're in a nursing home. That's really more of a myth than a reality.
So the reality is there are some assisted livings and continuing care retirement communities where you would come into an independent living and then, well, you need something more. We're going to an assisted living now. Well, you need something more. Now you're going to the nursing home. So that's a continuing care retirement community. And eventually you would be in the hospice of that community. In an assisted living with no special licenses, you're going to need to be able to stand and walk a certain number of feet on your own. You're going to need to be able to be a part of the activities there, come out for meals, can't be bedbound, really more of an active senior who just needs assistance with bathing, dressing, toileting, possibly with meals and things like that. So that's the assisted living. Then there's the special needs enhanced license assisted living, which takes you to someone who can have a Hoyer lift, someone who does have a little bit more needs, but they still can be a part of those activities. And they're not really in a place where they're convalescing, they just need more assistance. So that's a special needs enhanced. You would need that. There's also a memory care special needs enhanced, which is a secure unit. If someone had dementia and they needed, like in our Westbury community, if someone needed to be in a secure locked unit because they might be a danger, they might leave, they might wander, that would be something. So there's so many different nuances, and I'm hoping I'm answering your question.
No, you are actually. What you're saying is it's complicated. There is no cut and dry answer, and each case is an individual situation, as I understand it. Like
Correct.
There's a
Correct.
lot of options. Like you want to build a house, will it have one bathroom or
That's exactly right.
What's your story, if you will? And I appreciate what you're saying. I think the reality is that it's complicated and you need people to talk to who know what they're doing, who could guide you during the process that you might be going through. And I'm hearing that NAIPC would be a good place to start. Do you have nursing homes who are involved with
Yes,
the
we do. We
organization?
have several.
Okay,
Several
so
nursing
again,
homes.
you can make a phone call and get guidance, not necessarily at the beginning, but throughout the process of aging and caregiving and whatever, depending on where you are at that point. It varies. Clearly, there's no, bullet 1, bullet 2 type of thing, which is good to know because I think what can put people's mind at ease is the fact that there are options for people to talk to who can assist them in guiding. I went through with my mother prior to knowing anything that I know now. With Project Independence didn't exist, and my wife and I both worked, and it was like, oh my God, who do we call now? About this level where we are now, and it was a nightmare because you didn't know what to do. So that this could eliminate that part of the nightmare.
Yes, I went through very similar when I first started my caregiving journey. What do you do with all of this? And I have a thing about the Google searches, not anything against Google. I probably use it 20,000 times a day, but I don't want to have people finding their healthcare through the Google search when there's trusted advisors like Project Independence, like National Aging in Place Council, the Alzheimer's Association, places that you can go and get the answers that you need. You know,
Yeah, we
without
didn't even
having
have the
that stress.
luxury of Google search when this was going on. So it was,
And
it
Otto,
was,
so much of this that I want to impose upon everyone is that information gathering costs you nothing. Nothing. You are empowered by gaining information, and with all of National Aging in Place services, we are resources to gather information. Nobody is born knowing about how a chairlift works in your house. We come to the house, basically all of us, and every one of our areas are a little bit different, but it's the first thing is to learn, to gather the information so that you can, compare and see what's appropriate for you. And that costs nothing. So this is where, I always say, do yourself a favor, just make a call and just go and fill yourself with information and knowledge, because as we always
is there a member of NAIPC that might get involved with technology, like implementing things like Alexa or other smart home type stuff?
Yes, we do have a few members, actually one who's in the process of becoming a member and one who's been a member for a long time that do that. And we also work with SeniorNet who does that. So there's a lot of different options for seniors to learn how to work with their gadgets and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, there's always that outlet. There's people who come to the home. There's people who help you over the phone. So those things are available.
I mean, we preach seniors using things like I'll use Alexa as specific, but smart speaker things all the time. It offers a lot to people who are isolated in their own home, but
Absolutely.
it also requires somebody to know a little bit about how to do it. And typically the person who needs it doesn't know how to do it. So if they can get support, that's a good thing. And realizing, I think, that being above board, yes, the information gathering is free, but after that, you may have to pay. People don't widen doors for free. They don't put rolling showers in for free. I mean, the bottom line is the ultimate goal is to give you the best solution for the money that you can get to fix your problem with an honest, reputable person, whoever that may be.
We don't have a lot of time, but I did want to ask one question about, do you guys provide any respite care for caregivers? Do you have any connections or partners? Because we do, we can be one of those partners, but I'm just curious because so much of, the aging process is dependent upon the caregivers.
Yes. So the Alzheimer's Association does provide some programs. The Parker Jewish provides some programs. Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center and Long Island and Dementia Center do provide some. We also have individual companies that are home care companies that provide some respite. So there's a lot of different options. And then we always first give out what's available as a no-cost option. And then, if we've exhausted that, then we go to the cost option. There's a lot of EAC networks that offer respite. So there's so many things that we can try to hook them into. And then if we're not able to be successful or as successful as we need to be, because some of these programs maybe only do 4 hours twice a day and they need more than that, then we talk to them about other opportunities and options.
Well, I can't believe how fast this hour went. I want to thank you both so much for joining us today. Great information. I'm sure we'll have you back. It's so important to get your information out there, and we will definitely be happy to support that. And I know that you guys use us as reference too. So thank you so much, Laura LaFauci and Kim Kuester. We will be right back after a short break. You're listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio and 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.